King Shlomo was king over all Israel, and these were his high officials: Ezra, the son of Zadok the Kohen; Elichoreph and Ekiah, the sons of Shisha, secretaries; Yoshaphat, the son of Ehilud, secretary of state; Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, commander of the army; Zadok and Avitar, Kohanim; Azariah, the son of Natan, chief administrator; Zavud, the son of Natan, the king's trusted counselor; Achishar, in charge of the palace; Adronim, the son of Avda, in charge of forced labor. Shlomo had 12 officers over all Israel who were in charge of providing food and supplies for the king and his household. Each one was in charge of provisions for 1 month out of the year. They were the son of Hur in the hills of Ephraim, the son of Deker in Makatz, Shalbim, Beit Shemesh, and Elen Beit Hanan, the son of Hesed in Arabot. He also had charge of Sachol and all the territory of Hepher, the son of Avindav, in all the area of Dor. He had Tephat, the daughter of Shlomo, as his wife. Banah, the son of Ehilud, in Tanach Megiddo, in all Beit Shan, by Sartan, below Yisrael, from Bet Shan to Avel Mechlah, as far as beyond Yokmeam. The son of Giver in Ramoth Gilead was in charge of the villages of Yair, the son of Manasseh in Gilead, in charge of the region of Argob in Bashan, 60 large cities with walls and bronze bars. Akandav, the son of Iddo in Machanaim, Akamatz in Naphtali. He also took Basmat, the daughter of Shlomo, as his wife; Banah, the son of Husha, in Asher and Elat; Yoshaphat, the son of Parach, in Yisachar; Shimi, the son of Elah, in Benjamin; and Giver, the son of Uri, in the land of Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Emori, and Og, king of Bashan. Over all these there was one administrator in the land. Yehuda and Israel were as numerous as the sand grains on the seashore. They ate, drank, and enjoyed themselves. Shlomo ruled over all the kingdoms from the Euphrates River through the land of the Plishtim to the border of Egypt. They paid tribute and served Shlomo as long as he lived. Shlomo's provisions for one day consisted of 150 bushels of fine flour, 310 bushels of meal, 10 fatted oxen, 20 pastured-fed oxen, and 100 sheep, in addition to deer, gazelles, railbucks, and fattened poultry. For he ruled the area this side of the Euphrates River from Tisach to Azah. He was over all the kings on this side of the river, and he had peace all around him on every side. From Dan to Beersheba, Yehuda and Israel lived securely, every man under his vine and fig tree. Throughout the lifetime of Shlomo, Shlomo also had 40,000 stalls for his horses, used with his chariots, and 12,000 horsemen. Those officers named above supplied food and other materials for King Shlomo, and for everyone for whom Shlomo provided, each was responsible for his month's supply. They saw to it that nothing was lacking. They also made sure there was barley and straw where it was needed for the houses and draft animals. Each filled his quota. God gave Shlomo exceptional wisdom and understanding, as well as a heart as vast as the sandy beach of the sea. Shlomo's wisdom surpassed the wisdom of the people of the east and all the wisdom of Egypt, for he was wiser than everyone, wiser than Itan, the Izraki, and wiser than Heman, Kelkol, Darda, son of Makol, so that his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. He composed 3,000 proverbs and 1,005 songs. He could discuss trees from the cedar in Lebanon to the hyssop growing out of the walls. He could discuss wild animals, poultry, reptiles, and fish. People from all nations came to hear the wisdom of Shlomo, including kings from all over the earth who had heard of his wisdom. Hiram, king of Zor, sent his servants to Shlomo because he had heard that he had anointed him king over his father's place. Hiram had always loved David. Shlomo returned this message to Hiram. You know that David, my father, wasn't able to build a house for the name of Adonai, his God, because of the wars that beset from every side, till Adonai put his enemies under the sole of his feet. But now Adonai, my God, has given me rest on every side. There is neither adversary nor calamity. So now I intend to build a house for the name of Adonai, my God, in keeping with what Adonai said to David, my father. Your son, whom I put on your throne in your place, will build one house for my name. Therefore, order your people to cut down cedar trees from Lebanon for me. My servants will be with your servants. I will pay your servants according to everything you say. For you know that we have no one among us as skilled in felling trees as the Zidonian. When Hiram heard Shlomo's message, he was very happy and said, Blessed be Adonai today, who has given David a wise son to rule this great people. Then Hiram sent Shlomo this message. I have heard the message you have sent to me. I will do everything you want concerning cedar logs and cypress trees. My servants will bring them down from the Lebanon to the sea. I will make them into rafts to go by sea to wherever place you tell me, and will have them broken up there. You will receive them. You will compensate me by providing food for my household. So Hiram gave Shlomo all the cedar logs and cypress trees he wanted. And Shlomo gave Hiram 100,000 bushels of wheat and food for his household, and 1,000 gallons of oil pressed olives. This is what Shlomo gave Hiram each year. Adonai gave Shlomo wisdom, as he has promised him. There was peace between Hiram and Shlomo. The two of them formed an alliance together. King Shlomo conscripted 30,000 men from all Israel for forced labor. He sent them from the Lebanon in monthly relays of 10,000. They would stay a month in Lebanon and 2 months at home. Adoniram was in charge of the forced labor. Shlomo had 70,000 men to carry loads and another 80,000 stone cutters in the hills, besides Shlomo's 3,300 supervisors who were in charge of the people doing the work. The king gave orders, and they quarried large stones, expensive stones, to lay the foundation of the house with cut stone. Shlomo and Hiram's builder, along with the men from Gival, worked with the stones and prepared the timber and the stones for building the house. It was in the 480th year after the people of Israel had left the land of Egypt, in the 4th year that Shlomo reigned over Israel, in the month of Ziv, which the 2nd month, that began to build the house of Adonai. The house which King Shlomo built for Adonai was 105 feet long, 35 feet wide, and 52.5 feet high. The half fronting the temple, the house was 35 feet long, the same as the width of the house itself, so that it had 17.5 foot width extended frontward from the house. The windows he made for the house were wide on the inside and narrow on the outside. Against the wall of the house he built an annex all the way around it. It went all the way around the wall of the house, including both the temple and the sanctuary. The lowest floor of the annex was 8 3/4 feet wide. The middle floor 10.5 feet wide. The third floor 12 1/4 feet wide. He had made an outer part of the wall of the house step-shaped, so that the beams of the annex would not have been attached to the house walls. For the house, when under construction, was built of stone, prepared at the quarry. So no hammer, chisel, or iron tool of any kind was heard in the house while it was being built. The entrance to the lowest floor was on the south side of the house. A spiral staircase went up from the middle of the floor into the third. So he built the house, and after finishing it, he put its roof on, cedar planks over beams. Each floor of the annex surrounding the house was 8 3/4 feet high, and it attached the house with the beams of cedar. Then this is the word Adonai came to Shlomo. Concerning this house which you are building, if you live according to my regulations, follow my rulings, observe all my mitzvot, and live by them, then I will establish with you my promise that I made to your David your father. I will live in it among the people of Israel, and I will not abandon my people Israel. So Shlomo finished building the house. The inside of the walls of the house he built with boards of cedar. From the floor of the house to the joints of the ceiling he covered them. In the inside of the wood he covered the floor in the house with boards of cypress. The 35-foot back portion of the house he built the boards of the cedar. From the floor of the joists reserved this part of the house to be the sanctuary, the especially holy place. While the rest of the house, that is, the temple in front, was 70 feet long. The cedar covering the house was carved with gourds and open flowers. All was cedar, no stone was visible. In the inner part of the house it was set up a sanctuary, so that the ark was for the covenant of Adonai could be placed there. This sanctuary was 35 feet long, wide, and high, and it was overlaid with pure gold. In front of it he set an altar and covered it with cedar. Shlomo overlaid the interior of the house with pure gold, and had chains of gold placed before the sanctuary, which itself he overlaid with gold. The entire house he overlaid with gold until it was completely covered with it. He also overlaid it with gold, the entire altar belonging to the sanctuary. Inside the sanctuary he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, each 17.5 feet high. Each of the 2 wings of the 2 cherubim was 8 3/4 feet long, so that the distance from each of the end of the wing to the end of the other of the 17.5 feet. Lengthwise, the wing spread of the other cherubim was 17.5 feet. Both cherubim were identical in shape and size. The height of the one cherub was 17.5 feet, likewise that of the other. He set the cherubim in the inner house. The wings of the cherubim he stretched out, so that the wings of one touched the one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall. Their wings touched each other in the middle of the house. He overlaid the cherubim with gold. All around the walls of the house, both the inner sanctuary and the outer, it carved the figures of the cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers. He overlaid the floor of the house with gold, both inside the sanctuary and outside it. For the entrance of the sanctuary he made doors of olive wood, set it with 5-sided door frames. On the 2 olive wood doors he carved figures of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers. He overlaid the doors with gold, forcing the gold into the shapes of the cherubim, the palm trees as well. For the entrance of the temple he also made doorposts of olive wood, set within the rectangular door frame. The 2 doors of cypress wood, the 2 leaves of the open door were folding, as were the 2 leaves of the other. On them he carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, overlaid them with gold, fitted with the carved work. He built the inner courtyard, with 3 rows of cut stone and a row of cedar beams. The foundation of the house of Adonai was laid in the 4th year, in the month of Ziv, in the 11th year of the month of Bul, which is the 8th month, and all parts of the house were completely exactly as designed. Thus was 7 years building it.